Number 59 says a scale drawing of a city park uses a scale of 1 inch represents 1.5 feet. If the drawing is plotted on a coordinate grid, what is the algebraic representation from drawing to the city park? It says that 1 inch equals 1.5 feet. So we want to convert inches to feet, or feet to inches actually. So to do that, of course, you multiply it by 12 because there's 12 inches in a foot. And 1.5 times 12 should give you 18. So you would multiply 18 times x and then 18 times y. Okay, don't forget to flip it over. Try number 59 independent on your own. Number 60 says the relationship between x and y is represented by the table below. Which equation represents this table? If you look at A, it says x plus 5 equals y. I'm going to go ahead and replace the x with 1 and the y with 6. So you need to look at it and say, is it true? Does 1 plus 5 equal 6? Yes, it does. So that could be the equation, but you want to go ahead and do another one to make sure it fits all of them. Okay, so this time you have 3 plus 5. Does it equal 12? Obviously it doesn't, so that means A cannot be your answer because it doesn't work for this row right here. Let's try B. I replaced the x with 1 and the y with 6. You have 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 4. Does that give you 6? Yes. 2 plus 4 gives you 6, so this one is okay. Then you want to try this row. Okay, for the second row, you have 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 4 gives you 10. So obviously it's not 12, so this row does not work, so it cannot be B. Let's try the first row. You have 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 3 gives you 6, so the first row is good. Now the second row, you have 3 times 3, which is 9. 9 plus 3 does give you 12, so that one works. Okay, let's try the third row. You have 3 times 4, which is 12. 12 plus 3 does give you 15, so that one's good. And then you have the last row. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 3 does equal 18. Therefore, it worked for all of them, so C is your answer. Go ahead and flip it over. Try number 60, independent on your own. Number 61 says the Venn diagram shows the relationship of the subsets of the real number system. Which of the following is a rational number but not an integer? Okay, let's start with A. Don't forget, if you can write it as a fraction, it is a rational number. So can we write a 4 as a fraction? Sure. So that it means it's a rational number. Okay, so now is 4 a positive or negative whole number? Yes, it's a positive whole number, therefore it's an integer. And you can be writing these words next to the number 4, going long from right to left because you won't be able to do it up and down like I am. Is number 4 a positive number? Yes, it is. Therefore, it's also a whole number. And then, of course, it's also a natural number. Okay, so A is all of these, which means A is not your answer because you're looking for one that's not an integer, and 4 is an integer. Okay, now we have negative 8. Negative 8 can be written as a fraction as negative 8 over 1, so it is a rational number. It's also a positive or negative whole number. It's negative, obviously, so it's an integer as well. It's not a positive number, so it cannot be a whole number. Therefore, that's all it is. Again, the question is asking which one is not an integer, so B is not your answer. C says 13 over 2. It can be written as a fraction, obviously, so it's a rational number. Because it's not a whole number, positive or negative, it cannot be an integer. Because if you divided 13 by 2, it's going to give you 6 point something. I'm not too sure. 6.5. Because of this 0.5, it cannot be an integer. Therefore, there's your answer. It is a rational number, but it's not an integer. Your answer is C as in cat. And then it can be D because D is irrational. It's not even rational. Number 62 says the graph below shows the relationship between the number of minutes read and the number of pages read. Based on the information in the graph, what is the unit rate, which means for 1, in pages per minute, which of course means 1 minute. Because the x is your minutes, you want to go to the 1 on your x, and then just go to the line until it hits it, and then your y is 3. So the only one that says is 3 pages per minute would be F as in Frank. Make sure to flip your paper over. Do number 62 on the independent side on your own. Number 63 says a triangle ABC with coordinates 3, 6, 4, -4, 2, and 2, 0. The triangle is to be rotated 90 degrees clockwise. What would be the coordinates of the rotated A and B? First, okay, go ahead and draw your graph, your T. I want you to plot 0, 1. Which would be right here, and label it 0, 1. Then I want you to rotate it 90 degrees, which means it'd go right here. And I want you to label that one 1, 0. So basically you can see that if you rotate anything 90 degrees, what happens to the coordinates is they flip. So instead of 0, 1, you get 1, 0. Let's go ahead and rotate it another 90 degrees. This will show you that at 180 degree rotation, the x's stay the same, but as you can see, the y's become the opposite sign. So if it's positive, it goes to negative. If it was negative, it would go to positive. Go ahead and rotate it again. At 270, let's look at what happens. Comparing the 270 to the original, you can see that the x becomes the y, and the y becomes the x. So basically you flip them again, just like you do at the 90. But not only do you flip them, but whatever sign the original one is, you need to get the opposite. So right here it's a positive 1. You need to change it to a negative 1. Had it been a negative 1, you would have changed it to a positive 1. Okay, and then the last thing you need to understand is if you make a full circle, you go back to the original, obviously, and that means you have rotated 360 degrees. Okay, so going back to the original question, if the original is 3, 6, and you're going to rotate it 90 degrees, remember they flip, so your y becomes your x. So this becomes 6, and your x becomes your y, so this becomes 3. And the only one that says that is B, but let's go ahead and check the other one. For B, when you rotate it 90 degrees, just flip them. The x becomes the y, and the y becomes the x. And of course, B also says 2, -4, so you know your answer is going to be B. Okay, go ahead and flip your paper over and do number 63, the independent practice, on your own.